Why November 5 matters. Contrary to popular belief, the US is not on the decline. Both Trump and Harris will wield power decisively. The article explained that as we approach major US presidential election on November 5, 2024, many people are curious about America's role in the world. Some think America's influence is fading, but the author C Raja Mohan argues that both former President Donald J. Trump and current VP Kamala Harris will play key roles in maintaining United States power. No matter who wins, the focus will remain on pursuing American interest. Now, here is an argument of America's decline. The idea that America is in a declining is not new, right? The argument has a long story dating back to the mid 19th century. Thinkers named Karl Marx once said that capitalism, the economic system used by America, would collapse due to its own contradictions. Another thinker, Vladimir Lenin, said that as capitalism grew, it would lead to tensions with Western countries and with other societies. In the early 20th century, writer Oswald Spengler predicted that Western power would eventually fail. Despite all these warnings, capitalism and America's influence have survived major challenges over the past years. For instance, during for example, the Cold War with Soviet Union, right? And the United States stayed strong during a Cold War, right? And even when the Soviet Union fell, America continued to play a major role globally, even till now in 2024 also. Now, let's talk about economic concerns and rising powers. Now, there is our new economic players like People's Republic of China, as known as also China, which has almost as much as economic power as the US. China and other countries, especially in Asia, are gaining influence. However, the author point out that these new powers are not necessarily taking over America's role, but rather creating more competition. For instance, while China's economy is growing fast, it faces its own issues like aging population. Now let's talk about America's flexibility. One reason America has stayed powerful is because of its ability to adapt and create new rules for different situations. For example, after World War II, the US built a new world order, creating rules and institutions like the United Nations and World Bank, which helped stabilize international relations. During the global financial crisis of 2008, subprime mortgage crisis that happened in 2008, the US once again changed its approach, convincing European allies to help it reshape the global financial system. And the US also showed flexibility in its actions regarding Russian Federation. In a common language, Russia, right? And after Russia invaded Ukraine, the US persuaded European countries to cut off Russian banks using economic sanction as a tool of influence against Russia. So there is a challenges to America's dominance also, though the US remains a key player globally. The US remains a key global player. It faces challenges from both within and outside. Economically, America is growing more slowly and its share of global economy has slightly declined over the time. The European Union, EU, has also developed as significant power in its own right, but it remains economically weaker than the US. And the United States maintains its dominant military presence, but other countries like China and Russia are building their own influence by creating alliances. For example, China and Russia have tried to rally non-Western countries around their model, which contrasts with the US model of liberal international order. This difference creates a kind of competition between the West, led by the US, and East, led by the China and Russia. So, what's the next for US? Well, the US has been able to reinvent itself repeatedly, adapting to a new global challenges and changing its strategies as needed. And both Donald J. Trump and Kamala Harris represents different approaches to foreign policies, but share a commitment to America's global role. They are focused on maintaining the country's influence despite different personal styles. The article concludes that while the US may face economic and strategic challenges, it still holds a central position in the world. Now, both Donald J. Trump and Kamala Harris would likely continue to pursue policies that keep America influential even if their methods differ. The world is changing, but the United States is not necessarily declining. Instead, it's adapting to maintain its influence. So, in a conclusion, in a summary, the article emphasizes that despite some beliefs about America's decline, the country still holds a strong position in global affairs. The United States has a history of adapting to challenges and will likely continue to play a major role in the world's politics, in a world politics, or whether Trump or Harris comes to power. So this is what the thing that is talked about by the article's writer C Raja Mohan, who written this article in the Indian Express. So hope you understand about why November 5 matters. So thanks for watching and listening.